Luke travels to the wizarding world, using a bio-assisted chip with detection and analysis capabilities, embarking on a journey of pursuing truth as a wizard. Low strength, slow meditation speed. Analyze will runes, optimize wizard's meditation thoughts, and accelerate meditation speed. Is the spell model too complex to master? Analyze spell models and quickly master level 0 spells, even witchcraft. Lack of magic stones and resources for wizard cultivation. Analyze magic rune scrolls, become a rune master, refine a large number of magic scrolls for sale, and earn huge amounts of magic stones. Everything can be analyzed, I can analyze everything. Luke embarked on a journey of wizarding with his bio-assisted chip, gradually growing into an eternal deity. Keywords of the novel. Wizard. I can analyze all things without pop-ups. Wizard. I can analyze all things. Download the complete text. Wizard. I can analyze all things. Read the latest chapters. Chapter 1. Dark Thoughts. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Dark Thoughts. The sky is gloomy, with dark clouds blocking the sun. Boom boom. Accompanied by deafening roars, dark clouds split open from within, and a huge floating ship broke through the clouds and sailed towards the distance. On the surface of the massive ship, the light blue protective light shield gently moves. In the clouds, the silver electric snake dances freely, but is firmly blocked from the protective light shield. Always difficult to approach the hull. On the floating ship, in a guest room. Magic crystal lamp, emitting a soft light. Luke sat at the desk, holding a parchment scroll and reading it carefully. On the pale yellow scroll, there are densely packed words. But it's not a Chinese character from a previous life. It has been 3 full days since I traveled to this wizarding world similar to the Western Middle Ages in my past life. 3 days ago, Luke was detected to have wizarding talent and boarded this floating ship. Become a quasi-wizard apprentice. They are a group of 200 newcomers with wizard qualifications. Led by the recruiting wizard, Thor, they will take this floating ship to the Blue Sea to study. In the Blue Sea, wizard academies stand tall. Sorcerer promises that as long as they can reach the Blue Sea, this group of freshmen can choose any wizarding academy and join it. Thus embarking on a journey of pursuing truth as a wizard. Wow wow. The paper rubs rapidly and makes a crisp sound. Luke flipped through parchment scrolls at an extremely fast speed, which didn't seem like he was reading a book. It's clear that you're flipping through a book. Even the so-called quantum wave reading method has a much slower speed. Ding, all the information for the beginner meditation method has been scanned and recorded in my mind, mechanical sounds rang out. Have you finally finished scanning and recording this beginner's meditation book? Luke put down the parchment scroll that recorded the primary meditation thoughts and stretched lazily. This mechanical sound comes from Luke's journey 3 days later. The recently awakened golden finger. The bio-assisted chip from a previous life underwent a mutation after crossing time. The various functions of the chip, perfectly integrated with Luke's soul, have become an extremely special existence. In the past life, this type of bio-assisted chip mainly had 2 main functions. Detection and analysis. The so-called detection function refers to the bio-assisted chip, which can enhance and utilize the 5 senses of the subject, detect and collect various information around the subject, and then store it in a data-driven manner. As for the analysis function, it is able to simulate, analyze, and deduce based on the detected data information in a logical modeling manner. These 2 major functions complement each other. It is also Luke's greatest reliance in this wizarding world after his travels. As for the beginner meditation book he just flipped through, it was distributed for free by the recruiting wizard Thor after boarding the floating ship. At that time, Sorcerer Thor solemnly warned that there would be a 6-month probation period for new apprentices to join the Wizarding Academy. If within 6 months, one is unable to cultivate a beginner-level meditation idea and becomes an official wizard apprentice, will be expelled from the Wizarding Academy and become a wandering wizard. Wizards wandering in the wilderness lack formal and systematic knowledge transmission of wizards, and there is no supply of academic resources. The path of wizarding will be extremely difficult. Want to become a formal wizard? That's almost impossible. Luke has traveled through time, reviving his life and not wanting to end up in that desolate fate. As soon as I received my basic meditation idea, I worked hard to study it and wanted to try practicing, quickly get started, and become a formal wizard apprentice. However, the content of the primary meditation idea is obscure and difficult to understand. After studying it for 2.5 days, Luke is still in a state of partial understanding. Getting started is even more distant. Fortunately, the chip was activated. In previous lifetimes, the original intention of designing bio-assisted chips was to help humans quickly learn new knowledge and master new skills. No matter how difficult the knowledge and skills are, they are sorted, analyzed, and transmitted through chips. You can quickly master everything. Luke smiled and gave the command in his mind, "Chip, start organizing the information for beginner meditation ideas." Task establishment, start organizing. Relevant information has been sorted out. Eliminate 6.9% of redundant and invalid information, optimize language expression, and make it easier for the subject to learn and understand. Sure enough, chips can help me quickly organize and learn basic meditation ideas. Luke's mouth curved slightly as he quickly assigned a new task. Chip, transfer the sorted primary meditation thought data to the memory area of my brain. As the transmission command is issued, the primary meditation idea information sorted and summarized by the chip flows directly into Luke's brain memory area. Soon, those messages seem to be firmly engraved in his mind. I can't even forget if I want to. More importantly, this kind of memory is not simply rote memorization, but a complete understanding and mastery of the corresponding knowledge. If you have knowledge about beginner meditation thoughts now, come up with a set of test papers immediately. Luke thinks he can get a perfect score even with his eyes closed. It can be said that as long as he has a chip, his learning speed can definitely surpass all other apprentices and freshmen. Well, the so-called dark thoughts and wizard apprentices are like this. With the continuous transmission of data, Luke also gained a general understanding of the so-called wizard apprentices and the basic meditation method. The primary meditation idea, as the name suggests, is a technique specifically used for meditation and cultivation by newly born individuals with wizard qualifications. Some views and ideas similar to those of previous lives. It is necessary to utilize one's own spiritual power to outline willpower runes in the Sea of Spirit, in order to enhance spiritual power. The more will runes are outlined accurately, the stronger the spiritual power of wizard apprentices will be. The process of becoming extraordinary and becoming a wizard is mainly achieved through continuous meditation and sketching of willpower runes, in order to enhance spiritual power and strengthen oneself. According to the information, formal wizard apprenticeship can be divided into 3 stages. Junior apprentice, intermediate apprentice, and senior apprentice. As long as you can fully outline a will rune, you can completely illuminate your spiritual sea and become a formal junior wizard apprentice. So, Chip, start parsing the first will rune. The parsing task has been established, and will runes are currently being parsed. Current progress. 1.1%, as the analysis progress kept jumping, Luke was filled with anticipation. Willpower runes are the most important and difficult content to understand and learn in primary meditation. To cultivate primary meditation thoughts and embark on a path of transcendence, one must outline a will rune in one's own mind. Those will runes are a 3-dimensional structure. The patterns inside are very complex. Luke estimated that without other assistance, he wanted to understand the structure and pattern of the first will rune. It will take at least 10 days. The first will rune has been parsed. Do you want to transfer data? Not long after, the mechanical prompt sound of the chip rang out again in my mind. Start transmitting. Buzz. Buzz. Buzzing invisible data streams flood into the brain. As the data was transmitted, Luke fully understood the structure of the first will rune. The originally complex and dizzying willpower runes. At this moment, in his eyes, it appeared unusually friendly and familiar. There is an indescribable beauty of harmony. The chip can indeed decipher willpower runes, helping me quickly cultivate basic meditation thoughts. Other wizard apprentices need to study diligently for over half a month to gain a preliminary understanding of will runes and begin attempting meditation. But for Luke, who owns a chip, it only takes 1 or 2 hours of effort. It can be completely resolved. With the help of chips, I will definitely be able to walk faster and further on the path to becoming an extraordinary wizard. Luke's handsome face suddenly burst into a brilliant smile. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. First Meditation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2 First Meditation. The parsing of will runes is complete. Next, you can try your first meditation practice. According to the introduction of basic meditation thoughts, for the first time in meditation, one should maintain inner peace, gradually immerse consciousness into the sea of spirit. Luke slowly closed his eyes. At this moment, deep in his mind, in a misty sea of spirit, there are faint waves echoing one after another. Above the sea of spirit, a dim star appears faintly. Gazing intently reveals that the so-called stars are actually composed of complex rune patterns. As time goes by, the patterns become more complex, and the star becomes brighter. The stars shine brightly in all directions, penetrating through thick mist and almost illuminating the entire spiritual sea. When the spiritual power once again draws a pattern, the starry radiance is uncertain. Finally, it exploded directly. Luke turned pale and suddenly opened his eyes. Who? He was panting heavily, his chest heaving violently. Alas, willpower runes are too complex. Even with the help of chips, it is difficult to outline the first willpower rune at once, light up the spiritual sea, and become a formal wizard apprentice. After slightly calming down his breathing rhythm, Luke let out a slight sigh. Immediately afterwards, he issued another order. Chip, scan and display my body data. Main body status scanning detection in progress. The activity of the main brain cells is increased, the mind is in a highly active state, and the overall cellular activity is enhanced. The specific data is as follows. Name: Luke Smith, physical fitness. 1.9/1.9, comprehensive values of various physical attributes such as strength, endurance, agility, etc. Spiritual power. 0.8/1.2, spiritual power intensity, accompanied by the mechanical sound of the chip. A three-dimensional figure appeared before Luke's eyes. It's his own body model. Next to the model, a large amount of data is also annotated. This is the horror of chips. It can digitize the body, allowing people to have a clear understanding of their own physical condition. Glancing at his body data, Luke nodded slightly and ordered, retrieve my pre-meditation body data and compare it with the current data. As the command was given, the pale blue light screen in front of me changed, generating a body model again. After the two overlap, the comparative data is rapidly transformed and generated. Comparison completed. After the first meditation practice, the subject's spiritual power increased by 0.1 and physical fitness increased by 0.01. After completing meditation, both mental and physical strength continue to slowly improve. It is truly a wizard's meditation idea that can directly enhance spiritual power and help humanity move towards the path of transcendence. The first time you meditate, you can increase your mental power by 0.1 points. As for the enhancement of physical fitness, it is only an additional effect of mental influence on matter. Looking at the feedback data from the chip, Luke showed a satisfied expression on his face. Oh, by the way. Chip, analyze the reasons for my failure in meditation and drawing willpower runes just now, and propose targeted improvement measures. Luke's expression flickered, as if he had thought of something and tentatively issued a new command. "Didi, the task has been established and data collection is starting. Collecting data on mental fluctuations during subject meditation. Data collection completed, starting to organize and analyze. Current progress. 2.6%, surprisingly, it really can." In his mind, prompts for the chip kept appearing, and Luke was slightly surprised. In my past life, if I wanted to learn new sports, such as playing basketball. Indeed, through chip analysis, we can identify areas where our actions are not standardized enough and require optimization and improvement. But in this wizarding world, meditation is ultimately a purely spiritual activity. Luke also didn't expect the power of the chip. Surprisingly terrifying. Even mental fluctuations can be collected and analyzed. The task has been completed, reason for failure. When sketching will runes, there is too much mental fluctuation and the output of mental power is not stable enough. Improvement measures. During meditation, avoid distractions and do not rush to outline runes. Wait until you enter a deep meditation state before attempting to outline willpower runes. I thought I had done this meditation perfectly enough, but I didn't expect there to be so many problems, Luke sighed sincerely. This is what is known as, the onlooker sees the bigger picture, the bigger picture. The chip can record various physical and mental data during Luke's meditation. Further summary and analysis can be conducted, and targeted improvement measures can be proposed. Luke believed that with the help of the chip, it wouldn't be long before he could meditate and outline the first will rune. Become a formal wizard apprentice. This kind of meditation cultivation speed is definitely far superior to most other freshmen. Continue meditation. Luke closed his eyes and focused, beginning a new round of meditation practice. Many times, people find it difficult to persist in one thing because they cannot see their own progress. I can't see the meaning of persistence. But Luke is different. With chip detection and analysis, every time he meditates, he can not only see his own specific progress. You can also identify your own mistakes and make up for them. When practicing meditation, one becomes full of energy without any sense of boredom or boredom. As time passes, I am completely immersed in meditation practice. It's hard to extricate oneself. Whew. Spitting out a long breath of turbid air, Luke woke up from meditation. Subconsciously looking at one's own body data. Name. Luke, Constitution. 1.9/1.9, Spiritual Power. 0.3/1.3, at this moment, a rapid warning sound came from the chip, and a dazzling red warning appeared in front of me. Alert. Alert. If the subject's spiritual power is too low, continuing meditation can cause irreversible damage to the brain. Is the mental energy consumed so much? Take a break first. Luke pressed his temples to relieve the soreness in the brain. Cultivating primary meditation thoughts, outlining will runes, and consuming mental energy extremely. According to the chip's display, his current mental strength has dropped from its peak of 1.3 to 0.3. Unable to sustain the next meditation. It's really convenient to display all the attributes of the body in a data-driven way. Luke sighed to himself. Turn your gaze to the outside of the window and gaze into the distance to relax and rest. Through the circular crystal window, a light blue transparent light shield catches the eye. That is the defense light shield of the floating ship. Chip, scan and analyze protective light shield. Luke's mind twitched and he issued a new order. Task establishment, start scanning, unknown energy force field discovered, compared to the chip data database. Existing information is insufficient, and the structure of the unknown energy force field cannot be analyzed at the moment. Is it really impossible to analyze? Luke shook his head, but there was not much disappointment in his heart. This floating ship is said to be a magical artifact manufactured by an alchemist. With the current computing power and data reserves of the chip, we want to analyze its structure. The difficulty is indeed a bit high. He just subconsciously wanted to give it a try. Thinking in my heart, the mechanical sound of the chip rang out again. Comparing the intensity of unknown energy force fields before and after. The comparison is over, and the unknown energy force field is continuously decaying. It is expected to completely dissipate in 57 days. What? Looking at the results of chip analysis and comparison, Luke was extremely shocked in his heart. The defense light shield of the floating ship is actually continuously weakening in strength. No wonder he is so surprised. Over the past 3 days, floating boats have been flying high into the sky, often encountering various dangers. Thanks to the protection of this protective light shield, these new wizards can rest assured. Once the mask disappears, the thunderous storm above the dome and the terrifying extraordinary creatures that frequently appear, what should Luke, these new apprentices, use to resist? Do you want to go find Sorcerer Thor and remind him of the abnormality in the protective light shield of the floating ship? Just as the thought had just risen, it was decisively extinguished by Luke. He suddenly realized that it was difficult for him to explain clearly why he could detect abnormalities in the protective light shield. After all, in the eyes of others, I am just a newcomer. Just recently traveled through. Those who are unfamiliar with the place here adhere to the principle of being cautious and low-key. I can only bury this secret in my heart. It seems necessary to accelerate the speed of meditation practice, quickly become a formal wizard apprentice, enhance one's own strength, and have a certain degree of self-protection power. At the end of the day, in this wizarding world with extraordinary power, one's own strength is fundamental. The abnormal situation of the protective light shield also cast a shadow over Luke's heart. He always felt that this educational journey would not be smooth sailing. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Party Carnival. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3 Party Carnival. The mental energy consumption is enormous, making it temporarily impossible to meditate. Luke left the room and went to the restaurant on the ship, ready to prepare something to eat. In the center of the restaurant, there is a large bar. Under the crimson and ambiguous light, a strong smell of alcohol filled the nasal cavity. The intoxicated hormonal breath surged and surged. A group of energetic apprentices and new students, in a dim and chaotic environment, frantically wriggle their bodies and unleash their inner wildness. This situation has been going on for a full 3 days. Luke actually understands the ideas of these new students very well. I have passed the wizard qualification test, and my future is bright. Now I can indulge myself for a few days. Hey, play naughty. But what they don't know is, many times, the gap between people is gradually widened during these days of indulgence and revelry. I didn't expect people in this world, like the West in their past lives, to love parties and revelry so much. Luke muttered in his heart. As a traveler. A guest from a different world. In this wizarding world with extraordinary powers, low-key prudence is the most important principle. Who knows if those extraordinary wizards have any special abilities? Can they see any abnormalities in themselves? If the identity of the intruder is discovered, they will be sent to the wizard's dissection table. That would really be a shame for the travelers. So during these 3 days, in order to better integrate into the new group and not attract too much attention from others, Luke also attended the party. Of course, this is all a last resort. As for the specific feelings, it can only be said that the quality of beautiful women from other worlds is very high and moist. Chip, detect the body data of those people in the bar. Watching the seductive figure on the dance floor, Luke licked his lips and gave the order. Task establishment, start detecting and collecting data. The detection and analysis function of the chip is extremely powerful. Not only can it digitize itself, but it can also scan and analyze other people's body data. Truly achieve the goal of knowing oneself and the enemy, and never be defeated in 100 battles. At the moment the command was given, Luke saw a three-dimensional image of everyone's bodies in the bar. Surrounded by specific data such as mental strength, physical fitness, and circumference, name unknown, gender. Female, mental strength. 1.0, physical fitness. 1.6, circumference. 84, 48, 91, name unknown, gender. Female, mental strength. 1.1, physical fitness. 1.5, circumference. 89, 49, 81, dot. TSK. These people have amazing physique and physique. Luke sighed to himself. On this floating ship, the vast majority of freshmen are aristocratic children. From snacks to clothing, there is no shortage of meat, eggs, and milk. In addition, he has always received noble education, practiced night breathing techniques, and strengthened his physique. Although the freshmen are not very old, only 13 or 14 years old, they are all developing very well and have very high physical fitness. Take Luke as an example. He is only 13 years old this year, but he is 1.75 meters tall. Due to long-term training in knighthood and practicing nightly breathing techniques, the upper and lower muscles of the body are well proportioned and powerful, and the figure is excellent. In addition, with a tall and straight nose, a handsome face, and a head of brown long hair. This kind of handsome young man's image also made him popular among girls during party celebrations. Retrieving his gaze from the bar, the dance floor was in a frenzy, and with a slight calming of his inner anger, Luke walked straight towards the corner of the restaurant. That is the place to collect food. Join the party frenzy and strive to integrate into the daily interactive and in-depth communication tasks of the wizard's new family. There is no need to worry for now. Let's fill our stomachs first. Approaching, a cold and charming young woman with a strange metallic luster all over her body and a graceful figure caught the eye. This is the chef and waiter of the restaurant, the only alchemy creature belonging to the sorcerer Thor, Mrs. Winnie. Beautiful Mrs. Winnie, could you please bring me a black truffle bread? Luke smiled and gave a standard aristocratic salute. In this world, his father was a viscount who received noble education from a young age. The etiquette is impeccable. Mrs. Winnie remained expressionless and silent, handing the food to Luke. Luke is not angry about this either. As an alchemist, Lady Winnie does not have human emotions. Although they cannot speak and have no human emotions, such alchemy creatures are capable of performing extremely complex cooking tasks, can understand human language, and make accurate responses. This is simply unbelievable. This is the wizarding world, is this the magical alchemy? Even if technology was extremely advanced in previous lifetimes, those intelligent robots would find it difficult to achieve this, right? I heard that Lady Winnie is only the lowest level alchemy creature, so what kind of higher level alchemy creature does it exist? Every time he saw Mrs. Winnie, Luke developed a strong interest in wizards and alchemy. I wish I could fly to the blue sea and join the Wizarding Academy right away. The mysterious and extraordinary power mastered by wizards is truly fascinating. Chip, scan and analyze Mrs. Winnie. The task has been established, scanning is starting, unknown metal alloy composition discovered, unknown energy in force field discovered, compared to the database. Database information is insufficient and cannot be analyzed temporarily, can't this also be analyzed? There is no information on alchemy in the database of chips, and there is very little detailed information about wizards. It seems that we can only wait until the Wizarding Academy obtains the corresponding information and data to analyze. After a simple attempt without success, Luke was not disappointed and sat down at a dining table, starting to feast. Luke, you are indeed here. Not long after, a boy with blonde hair sat down in front of Luke, holding food. Hi, Casa. Luke looked up and greeted with a smile. Casa is a new friend he met during these 3 days after traveling. In addition to greeting, he also silently said in his heart, Chip, scan the Casa in front of me. Task establishment, start scanning and detection. Unknown radiation source detected, affected by unknown force field interference. This scan failed. This. Looking at the scan results feedback from the chip, Luke was taken aback. Since activating the chip, he has only encountered failure cases when scanning items related to wizards. For example, the protective light shield of the previous floating ship, and the alchemy creature Lady Winnie. But he never expected that this time he was just subconsciously trying to scan the casa in front of him. Surprisingly failed. Previously, scanning other apprentices' new students was successful without any failure. Unfortunately, when we arrived at casa, the scanning and detection of the chip failed. It seems that my previous judgment was correct. There are indeed many secrets hidden in casa. In fact, the reason why Luke and Casa became friends is not only because of their similar temperaments. The other party knows a lot about the secrets of the wizarding world, which is also an important reason. Luke's father was only a viscount, with insufficient family background and only a middle to lower level among the nobility. For wizards, they don't have much information at their disposal. But the background of the Casa in front of me is somewhat mysterious. After these 3 days of conversation, Luke also found that Casa seemed to be very familiar with some aspects of wizards. Luke traveled through time and was found to have wizard qualifications, capable of becoming a wizard apprentice. I will instinctively inquire about all the information about wizards. Despite being shocked from the bottom of his heart, on the surface, Luke remained silent and engaged in a passionate conversation with Casa. From time to time, proactively bring up topics and gather some information about wizards from the other party. To improve the chip database. Just as Luke and his wife were whispering, there was a slight change in the location of the bar in the center of the restaurant. Friends. A young man with fiery red long hair walked to the center of the bar dance floor, scanned the surroundings with his eyes, and spoke loudly. The apprentice freshmen, who were originally indulging in wild revelry, stopped twisting their waist and looked at the red-haired boy. 3 days ago, we passed the wizard qualification assessment and boarded sorcerer's floating ship together, embarking on a journey of pursuing truth as wizards. This is a kind of fate. Now, after discussing with another friend with 9th class wizard qualifications, we have decided to establish a mutual aid association and hold regular wizard exchange meetings every day to share our experience in practicing meditation. I hope everyone can join us, help each other, and explore the truth together. The young man's tone is passionate and has a contagious power. The new apprentices who were watching seemed very interested in this so-called mutual aid association, and gathered around one after another. It seems that I am very satisfied with this situation. The red-haired boy had a proud expression on his face, his tone becoming more passionate, and his gaze scanning the surroundings. Unexpectedly, I found Luke and his companions in the corner. With a gentle frown, the red-haired boy looked at Luke's position several times during his speech, intentionally or unintentionally. Alert! Alert! Unknown line of sight on the right front, scanning the subject more than 10 times, according to preliminary analysis, the likelihood of hostility exceeds 69% in Luke's mind. The warning sound of the chip was rapid and sharp. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Riddle Man. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4 Riddle Man. Chip warning. Luke instinctively looked up and happened to face the red-haired boy with 4 eyes. Angela Thomas. Luke knows this person. Like him, Ingrid's father was also a viscount. And the two families have territories adjacent to each other. In order to compete for mineral resources, population, and other resources within their territory, the two countries often engage in armed conflicts. For hundreds of years, there have been constant family conflicts and mutual damage between the two families. It has become a world feud. This time, Ingrid also passed the wizard qualification test with him. Not only that, the other party also has a 9th class wizard qualification, making them one of the two with the best qualifications. The wizard subdivides the qualifications of apprentices into grades 1 to 9. First class is the lowest, ninth class is the highest. As for Luke, he has a 7th class qualification, which can be considered very good among all the new apprentices. After being prompted by the chip, Luke noticed that the other person's gaze was not good, and he became secretly vigilant in his heart. Chip, scan and analyze Angeli's body data. The detection is over, Angeli. Spiritual strength. 1.1, physical fitness. 1.7, my physique is slightly worse than mine. No wonder in the original owner's memory, when he was studying at the aristocratic academy, every time the other party provoked him, he would be harshly scolded by his predecessor. Looking at this situation, does Ngui think he has better wizarding skills and wants to find an opportunity to deal with me and regain his previous position? Luke looked at the data in front of him and secretly evaluated the other party's threat. Due to the feud between the two families. In the aristocratic academy before, my predecessor often took the initiative to find fault and teach the other party a lesson. The animosity between the two cannot be resolved at all. Luke believes that as long as there is a chance, Ngui will not hesitate to kill himself. Faced with Luke's gaze, Ngui withdrew her gaze with a hint of guilt and turned to talk to the new students who were gathered around. Having no idea of his own details, Luke had already figured it out for a long time. Among the 200 freshmen on the floating ship, the wizard's qualifications were divided into high and low, forming different circles. Among them, those with a 3rd class qualification, which is 70.89%, appear more arrogant and generally disdain to interact with freshmen with qualifications below the 7th class. Freshmen with qualifications in the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 3rd class are less qualified than those in the upper class and more qualified than those in the lower class. Not only do they look down upon apprentices with lower 3rd class qualifications, but they also lack confidence when facing those with higher 3rd class qualifications. As for the apprentices with lower 3rd class qualifications, the largest number is over 100. They have the worst qualifications, and under the same pity, they appear to be very close together. As an apprentice with 9th grade qualifications, Ngui has at least a 90% chance of becoming a formal wizard, if nothing unexpected happens. Such people are willing to establish so-called mutual aid societies, and invite other apprentices. Nature is very appealing. For a moment, a large group of apprentices surrounded the central position of the bar, clearly showing great interest in this mutual aid association. Red-haired Ngui wore a gentle smile and kindly answered all the apprentices' questions. His purpose in doing so is naturally not so simple. Under the pretext of exchanging meditation experiences, he called on most apprentices to join the mutual aid society he organized. Once the mutual aid association is successfully formed, as the initiator, Ngui will also have a considerable say. By then, with his 9th rank wizard qualification, the speed of meditation cultivation will definitely be the fastest. With the improvement of strength, completely control the mutual aid association and make it useful for oneself. It's so easy. Supported by the massive force of mutual aid societies, they arrived in the Blue Sea and joined the Wizarding Academy. Ngui felt that he could also walk faster and farther on the path of wizarding. What, do you know him? Casa also noticed the abnormality in the bar and took the initiative to ask. Luke nodded slightly and said, "Our families are enemies." Then, he briefly explained the feud between the two families. That's a bit of a hassle, Casa frowned slightly. I heard yesterday that those two newcomers with 9th class qualifications are planning to form a mutual aid association, to gather most of the newcomers in the name of exchanging their thoughts and experiences. Their ambition looks quite impressive. Luke sighed. If this so-called mutual aid association can really be organized, it will be a huge force. Even worse, the initiator of its organization, Ngui, is a mortal enemy of itself. Luke has a premonition that once the mutual aid association is established, trouble will definitely come to him. Ambition is indeed not small. But they don't understand that even if the weak gather together, they are still weak. Kasa's tone was full of disdain. After a pause, he continued, I have come into contact with those two freshmen with 9th grade qualifications, all of whom are fools. They don't understand that in the pursuit of truth, wizard qualifications are not important. The most important qualities of being a wizard are strong learning ability, extraordinary creativity, and rich imagination. These are far from being compared to me, nor to you or my friend Luke. Don't worry, this is just a little trouble, there's no need to worry too much. Is it learning ability, creativity, and imagination? Luke pondered. Of course, regarding Kasa's statement that wizard qualifications are not important. He just smiled it off. As a new apprentice with 8th class qualifications, Kasa speaks with ease. But in the stage of wizard apprenticeship, qualification is the most important thing. The better the wizard's aptitude, the faster the speed at which meditation outlines will runes. The shorter it takes to become a formal wizard apprentice. According to the Introduction of Beginner Meditation Ideas, apprentices with 9th grade qualifications can complete the first will rune by spending only about 10 days of meditation. 8th class qualification takes half a month. A 7th class qualification takes nearly 20 days. The lower the qualification, the longer it takes to meditate, and the lower the probability of becoming a wizard. As for the so-called learning ability, creativity, and imagination, they can only gradually emerge after becoming a formal wizard and having a long lifespan. What use is it if one's qualifications are too poor to even become a formal wizard? Thinking so in his heart, but Luke naturally couldn't say that. I just casually added a few words. However, both of them turned a blind eye to the so-called mutual aid association. There is no intention of joining at all. In fact, most new students with 3rd class qualifications do not have the intention to join the Mutual Aid Association. The vast majority of those who choose to join the Mutual Aid Association are apprentices in the lower 3rd class. They have always been very insecure due to their poor qualifications. Nowadays, invitations from 9th class apprentices also give them a sense of recognition. In addition, exchanging meditation experiences is indeed beneficial for them to practice meditation and make up for their lack of qualifications. So they all signed up to join the Mutual Aid Association. With the small episode of Mutual Aid Association, Luke and his wife lost the desire to chat. The bar dance floor is occupied by people, so naturally there is no possibility of party revelry. The two quickly finished their food and left the restaurant together. At the moment of parting, Kasa patted Luke's shoulder heavily and spoke meaningfully. Dear Luke, my friend, hurry up and cultivate your dark thoughts, and become a formal wizard apprentice. Although the Mutual Aid Association is not a concern, this journey of seeking truth may not be stable, and there may be other dangers waiting for us. What? Can you explain it clearly? Luke was startled at the words and quickly asked. But Kasa just grinned and turned around without looking back. Another riddler. Watching the other person's distant back, Luke was somewhat speechless. However, Kasa's words seemed to have some meaning. He quickly thought of the abnormality of the protective light shield. It seems that it's definitely not a coincidence. In the past few days of contact, he found that Kasa was very familiar with the affairs of wizards and was very likely to know some secrets. Moreover, even the chip cannot detect the other party. Thinking about it this way, Kasa's words just now should be a kind warning. If the protective light shield of the floating ship really dissipates, then the threat from the Mutual Aid Association is not really worth it. It seems that we need to hurry up and improve our strength. Luke suddenly felt a sense of urgency in his heart. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Meditation Breakthrough. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 Meditation Breakthrough, Chip, Display My Body Data. After parting ways with his friend Kasa, Luke returned to his room alone and gave orders in his mind. Name. Luke, Spiritual Power. 0.4/1.3, Constitution. 1.9/1.9 Warning. Warning. The main body's spiritual power is too low. It is recommended to restore the spiritual power to 0.6 or above before proceeding to the next meditation. The recovery of mental power is surprisingly slow. How can we accelerate the recovery of spiritual power and improve meditation efficiency? Luke thought to himself. There is pressure from the Mutual Aid Association in the front, and an abnormality in the protective light shield at the back. Luke is eager to quickly improve his strength. Taking advantage of the situation, he went to the bathroom to wash up and lay on the soft bed. A flash of inspiration flashed in his mind, and he quickly issued the command. Chips, create tasks, search for my memories, find ways to quickly restore mental power. Task established, starting to search for subject memory, current progress is 0.1%. About 10 minutes later, the mechanical sound of the chip echoed in my mind. Search ended, 233 methods found. Surprisingly, so many. Luke was startled by the number displayed on the chip. In fact, he just had a sudden idea and thought of searching for his own memory. This is not a solution. In previous lifetimes, many scientific studies have shown that humans did not fully utilize their own brains. In fact, there is a lot of memory stored in the brain. Some memories, even for oneself, may not be remembered in a short period of time. But bio-assisted chips can help humans organize their lifelong memories. And there won't be any omissions. What's even more impressive is that the chip can accurately search and locate relevant memory information through keywords. Looking at the dense array of over 200 options, Luke once again ordered, remove the options that are less than 70% feasible, and attach the condition. No side effects. Search and find again. Screening completed, remaining options. 2. Show all. Plan 1. Enter deep sleep state. In deep sleep, the subject will be in a state of complete relaxation, and it is expected that the speed of mental recovery will be more than 10 times faster than it is now. Option 2. Eating extraordinary biological, red-eyed silver sandfish. According to the subject's memory, the extraordinary creature, red-eyed silver sandfish, can effectively alleviate fatigue and accelerate the recovery of mental strength. The specific efficacy is difficult to estimate due to insufficient data. Plan 1. Deep sleep should come from my past life memories. As for option 2, the extraordinary creature, red-eyed silver sandfish. This should be the original owner's memory. The extraordinary creatures in this world have the ability to accelerate spiritual recovery, truly deserving of being a wizarding world with extraordinary power. I believe there are many ways to restore mental energy and improve meditation efficiency in a short period of time in the Wizarding Academy. As for now, I can't even find the red-eyed silver sandfish and can only choose option 1. However, if given the opportunity in the future, it is important to pay more attention to information about supernatural creatures. It's best to collect the flesh and blood tissues of extraordinary creatures, use chips to detect and analyze them, and enrich the relevant database. After a brief analysis and determining the next goal, he asked again, Chip, how can I quickly enter a deep sleep state? To assist the subject in learning and research, the biochip has relevant programs that can help the subject quickly enter a deep sleep state and recover energy through bioelectric stimulation and massage. How could you forget about this mess? Luke patted his brain with regret on his face. In the past life, due to severe involution and excessive life pressure, many people suffered from sleep-related illnesses. If you don't stay up late to cultivate your immortal liver until 2 or 3 o'clock late at night, you won't be able to sleep at all. As a bio-assisted chip, it was designed to incorporate such a sleep aid function. However, what I didn't expect was that this feature can even be used in the wizarding world to quickly restore mental power. Chip, establish tasks, assist me in entering deep sleep. At the same time, monitor my physical data, and wake me up when my mental power is fully restored. The task has been established and the assisted sleep function is being activated. The biological current system has been activated as the prompts in his mind kept ringing. Luke only felt his eyelids getting heavier and his breathing gradually calming down. Quickly enter a deep sleep state. Ding ding, the mechanical ringing of the chip awakened Luke from deep sleep. After just sleeping for just over 2 hours, did your mental energy completely recover? Luke yawned and stretched lazily. Having a chip can quickly enter a deep sleep state, accelerate the recovery of mental energy, and my meditation efficiency will definitely be greatly improved. Based on comprehensive calculations, it's possible that even Ingray, who has 9th class wizard qualifications, is far less efficient in meditation than me. For newcomers like Luke, who are expected to become wizard apprentices, there are many obstacles to practicing meditation. The slow recovery of mental energy is definitely one of the biggest difficulties. Nowadays, with the use of chips, Luke can quickly enter a deep sleep state, and his mental recovery speed is more than 10 times that of other newborns. This is definitely a huge improvement. The next few days. Luke has been meditating and practicing, apart from occasionally attending gatherings and getting up close to experience the passion of a girl from another world. With the help of the chip, he spends most of his mental energy after each meditation session. They can enter a deep sleep state and quickly recover their mental strength. In the best mental state, meditate to outline the will rune. In addition, the chip can also analyze the shortcomings in each meditation session, helping him continuously improve his meditation methods. Luke's progress can be described as rapid. At the same time, the so-called Mutual Aid Association has also been vigorously promoted. The number of new apprentices joining the Mutual Aid Association is also increasing. Every morning, the Mutual Aid Association publicly holds a so-called meditation experience exchange meeting in the restaurant. All apprentices can participate for free. Share the cultivation experience of each individual's primary meditation thoughts together. It is this measure that has attracted a large number of apprentices and new students, making them have a good impression of mutual aid associations and willing to join them. I have to admit that Guy Ingray did a good job in winning people's hearts. With the development and growth of mutual aid associations. In chip analysis, the dissipation time of the protective light shield for floating ships is decreasing day by day. Luke's sense of crisis in his heart has become increasingly strong. For this reason, he could only calm down and meditate seriously, hoping to quickly break through and become a formal wizard apprentice. To enhance one's own strength and respond to potential threats. This day, Luke remained focused and meditated with his eyes closed. Consciousness sinks into the depths of the spiritual sea, quickly and accurately outlining the first will rune. He can't remember clearly how many times he has done these steps during this period of time. Repeated meditation practice allows for a very fast speed in outlining runes. The accuracy is also extremely high. In the dimly lit room, the young man breathed calmly and had a calm expression, as if he had fallen asleep again. Time passes by minute by second. As the willpower runes continue to be perfected, the rune star above the sea of spirits is also becoming brighter and brighter. When he finished sketching the last line, he exhaled a long, murky breath. Finally, the first will rune has been fully outlined. Luke opened his eyes and looked excited. As the first will rune is completed, the spiritual sea is completely illuminated. This also means that he has successfully broken through. Become a junior wizard apprentice. Chip, check my physical condition. Subject status detection in progress. The activity of main brain cells is significantly enhanced, and the activity of whole body cells is increased. The upper limit of the subject's spiritual power is continuously increasing, maximum spiritual power plus 0.05, maximum spiritual power plus 0.07. Alert. Alert. A large number of unknown energy particles have been detected and are flooding into the body of the subject. The final result is unknown. Do you want to simulate the final reaction? end of this chapter. Chapter 6. Radiation Enhancement Method. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6 Radiation Enhancement Method Unknown Energy Particle. Upon seeing the chip's prompt, Luke frowned slightly. According to the data of the beginner's meditation, as long as the first will rune is outlined, the spiritual sea is completely illuminated, and after becoming a beginner wizard apprentice, external energy particles can be triggered and stored in the body, forming magic. As long as magic is formed in the body, energy particles can be leveraged through spiritual power to continuously radiate and strengthen one's physical fitness, while resisting external radiation pollution. Is this so? Called unknown energy particle the external energy particle described in meditation? Is it also the key to forming mana? With a secret guess in his heart, Luke issued a decisive command. Chip, simulate the final result. The task has been established and data collection is starting. The simulation is over. The influx of unknown energy particles will form an unknown energy stream within the body of the subject after simulation analysis. The similarity with the mana recorded in the data, primary meditation thoughts, is as high as 96.69%. This is indeed magic. Luke's face was filled with joy. According to the introduction of Junior Meditation Ideas, although junior wizard apprentices are unable to construct spell models and cast corresponding level 0 spells. But with the birth of magic, it can continuously enhance physical fitness through the radiation of energy particles. Further enhance one's own strength. As long as his strength can be improved, Luke will have the confidence to deal with various threats in the future. Chip, using the data of elementary meditation thoughts, to digitize mana and retrieve my current body data. Task has been established and is currently organizing and analyzing data. A few minutes later, the chip sent a prompt. Analysis completed. The main data is as follows. Name. Luke, spiritual power. 1.2/2.1, mana. 0.5/0.5 Constitution. 1.9/1.9 Sure enough, my body really gave birth to magic. Not only that, but after the breakthrough of my meditation, my spiritual power unexpectedly increased to 2.1, and my mana and physical fitness continued to rise. Silently analyzing the data displayed by the chip, Luke was very satisfied. Upon closer calculation, it has only been half a month since stepping onto the floating ship. To his knowledge, the vast majority of other novice wizard apprentices have not yet fully understood the structure of their first will rune. Not to mention, it's my first time trying meditation practice. Even for a newcomer with 9th grade wizard qualifications, his archenemy Ingri. I just started trying meditation for a few days. The improvement of mental power is not only limited, but also suffers from the lack of a quick way to restore mental power. The efficiency of meditation is extremely low. With the help of the chip, Luke has successfully meditated and outlined his first will rune, becoming an official junior wizard apprentice. This kind of meditation cultivation speed is simply shocking. If other freshmen on the ship were to know, they would definitely be shocked. Next, it is necessary to use the methods recorded in the beginner's meditation method to enhance oneself through the radiation of energy particles. Wizards also refer to this method of radiation strengthening their physical fitness as the radiation strengthening method. The data of primary meditation thoughts has long been sorted and analyzed by chips, and transmitted to Luke's brain memory area. Just a moment of recollection, he remembered the relevant information about mana and radiation enhancement. In fact, during this time, Luke was meditating without sleep or food. It is to break through and become a junior wizard apprentice, practicing the radiation enhancement method, to quickly enhance one's own strength in a short period of time. Although unwilling to admit it, the mutual aid society established by his arch-rival Engri still puts a lot of pressure on Luke. Thinking of this, Luke no longer hesitated and ordered directly. Chip, based on my body data, establish a model for practicing radiation enhancement method. Task established, main model established, starting to parse data, simulating deduction. As the deduction began, a three-dimensional model quickly emerged before Luke's eyes. All body data of the 3D model are identical to his own. At the same time, the figure model constantly adjusts its breathing rhythm, regularly stimulating its own spiritual power to leverage its magic. The blue lines representing mana quickly shuttle through the model body. Under the traction of magic, various energy particles emitting different brightness rush into the body in a specific order and emit a faint milky white glow. That milky white radiance is what is called beneficial radiation. Can enhance physical fitness. About a few minutes later, the deduction was over, and the mechanical sound of the chip came. The simulation has been completed. It takes 1 hour, 12 minutes, and 7 seconds to fully cultivate the radiation enhancement technique. The first time practicing radiation enhancement method, the main body has no radiation resistance, and the effect is the best. It is expected to increase physical fitness by 0.3 points. With continuous radiation enhancement, the subject will develop resistance, and after 3 months, the radiation enhancement effect will approach 0. Preliminary estimate, the subject will improve their physical fitness by at least 1.2 points in the next 3 months. How could one's physical fitness improve so much? Upon seeing the deduction results from the chip feedback, Luke was overjoyed. You should know that in this wizarding world, although possessing extraordinary powers, what ordinary people can come into contact with is still knights. To become a wizard, one must have a certain talent. This kind of talent and aptitude can be said to be unparalleled among all. Knights are different. Anyone who is willing to work hard, continuously practice the knight breathing technique, and undergo arduous knight training, has the potential to become a knight. The original owner of this body began practicing the family passed down knight breathing technique at the age of 7. At the age of only 13, he improved his physical fitness to 1.9. As long as we further improve our physical fitness to twice that of an ordinary person, we can become a reserve knight. However, this is also the result of his 5 or 6 years of hard work and cruel knight training since childhood. And the stronger the physique, the more difficult it becomes to improve. But now, he has just become a junior wizard apprentice and is not yet a formal wizard. Even so, just practice the radiation enhancement method and use the radiation of energy particles to strengthen oneself. In just 3 months, you can improve your physical fitness by at least 1.2. It has to be said that in this world, wizards not only possess terrifying witchcraft, but their physical fitness also far exceeds that of ordinary knights. It can be said to be a comprehensive crushing. This is the wizard, mysterious and unpredictable, yet possessing terrifying extraordinary powers. In front of wizards, even if a knight is strong, he is just a slightly stronger muggle. Compared to wizards, knights and wizards are like the difference between practicing martial arts and cultivating immortals in the world of immortals and knights. The huge gap is despairing. The apprentice wizard is so strong, what kind of powerful power would a formal wizard possess? Luke's eyes were fanatical and his face showed longing. At this moment, the chip's prompt sound came again. Detected that the subject has previously practiced night breathing technique. Is it possible to optimize and improve the radiation enhancement method recorded in elementary meditation thoughts by combining the night breathing technique? Yes. No. Hiss. How could a chip still have this ability? After seeing the information transmitted by the chip, Luke was stunned for a moment, and his face immediately showed ecstasy. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Chip Upgrade. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7 Chip Upgrade Optimize Now. Luke did not hesitate at all and issued the order decisively. Collecting relevant data, optimization begins, estimated time. 5 minutes and 31 seconds, just 5 minutes. Luke was surprised in his heart. Looking back carefully, it seems that after breaking through to become a junior wizard apprentice, the computing speed of the chip. It's much faster than before. Regardless of the breakthrough, digitize the mana. Or it could be establishing a model for practicing radiation enhancement methods, optimizing and improving radiation enhancement methods, and so on. The chips were all completed in just a few minutes. This was absolutely impossible in the past. Chip, retrieve the historical record of its own computing speed, and perform comparative analysis. Scan the chip database and compare it with historical operation records. Comparative analysis completed, the chip's computing speed has increased by about 110% compared to before, analyzing reasons. The main body's spiritual power has been greatly enhanced, and the chip is affected by unknown factors, resulting in faster computing speed accompanied by chip comparison analysis. Luke saw a light blue screen before his eyes, filled with dense data. It can be seen from this that the time when the chip's computing power improved was just after its breakthrough. After I broke through, my mental power skyrocketed, and the chip's computing speed also increased accordingly. Is it possible that during the journey, due to unknown reasons, the chip and my soul are bound together? As I break through the realm and increase my spiritual power, my soul will also be enhanced, and the chip's computing speed will naturally increase as well. If that's the case, then in the future, I will continue to progress on the path of wizarding, and every time I break through the realm, won't the chip be upgraded once? Will computing power also skyrocket? Luke guessed to himself. There is not much research on the knowledge of the soul, even though the technology explosion in previous lifetimes resulted in the production of black technology achievements such as chips. To verify this speculation, we may have to wait until the next breakthrough. Just as Luke was pondering, the chip's prompt came again. Optimization of radiation enhancement method ended. The optimized and improved radiation strengthening method is expected to increase the cultivation effect by 50%, increase cultivation effect by 50%. Very good. Luke is very satisfied with this optimization result. By increasing the cultivation effect by 50%, it means that within 3 months, he can improve his physical fitness by at least 1.8. Other apprentices practicing this radiation strengthening method can only improve their physical fitness by 1.2 in 3 months. I have chip optimization and improvement, but it can improve my physical fitness by a whopping 1.8. Compared to other new wizard apprentices, my speed of strength improvement is definitely far superior. This is my advantage. Thinking of this, Luke couldn't wait to give the order. Chip, name the optimized radiation enhancement method Luke Radiation Enhancement Method, and establish a new archive storage. After a brief pause, he said, based on my body data, simulate the specific improvement in physical fitness after practicing the Luke Radiation Enhancement Method. Naming successful, new file has been created. Start building the main body model and prepare for simulation and deduction. Simulation and deduction completed. The main practice is Luke's Radiation Enhancement Method, which uses radiation to strengthen physical fitness. It is estimated to take about 46 minutes to complete one session. First cultivation, expected to increase the subject's physical fitness by 0.5 points. Subsequently, due to the development of resistance in the body, the radiation enhancement effect rapidly decreases and gradually decreases. Preliminary calculations show that by practicing the Luke radiation enhancement technique, the subject can improve their physical fitness by at least 1 point after 1 month, and by at least 1.8 points. After 3 months, after 6 months, the main body will develop strong resistance, and Luke's radiation enhancement method will be completely ineffective, whether it's the cultivation time or the cultivation effect. The optimized and improved Luke radiation enhancement method far exceeds the original version. Looking at the data displayed on the chip, Luke nodded to himself. So, the chip will optimize and improve the Luke radiation enhancement method and transmit it to the memory area of my brain. Buzz. There seemed to be buzzing sounds in his mind, and a massive flow of information instantly filled Luke's brain completely. The cultivation information about Luke's radiation enhancement method is also deeply imprinted in his memory. Along with the cultivation information, a large amount of cultivation experience of practicing Luke's radiation enhancement method, which had been simulated and deduced, came to his mind. These cultivation experiences can help Luke avoid many mistakes during the cultivation process. Take fewer detours. With chip assistance, my advantage over ordinary new apprentices is really too great, Luke sighed to himself. In the simulation and deduction of chips, practicing radiation enhancement method and utilizing radiation to enhance oneself have many taboos and prone to making mistakes. For example, the radiation intensity should be appropriate, neither too strong nor too weak. Excessive radiation not only fails to improve physical fitness, but also damages oneself. If the radiation is too weak and the physical fitness improves too slowly, the body's resistance will actually increase rapidly. When the resistance reaches a certain level, it may not have been 3 months. After 1 month, the radiation enhancement method will become ineffective. It's impossible to achieve the theoretical best effect of practicing radiation enhancement method. And these, he only needs to deduce the results based on the simulation of the chip to completely avoid them. It can also maximize the utilization of radiation energy and improve one's physical fitness. Let's practice it first and give it a try. Luke stood up and stood on the indoor open space, following the prompts to put his body in a strange position. Breathing patterns and frequencies should follow the order of 9 shallows and 1 deep. Spiritual power also needs to drive internal magic, circulating throughout the body in a specific way to pry energy particles and generate a certain intensity of radiation. Luke gradually entered a cultivation state following the optimized and improved method. At the same time, once he takes any steps that are not standardized enough, in my mind, the mechanical reminder sound of the chip will arrive as scheduled. Breathing rate should be maintained at 9 shallow and 1 deep levels. First, take a deep breath for 2 seconds, then take a rapid breath. Right arm movement deformation 12.7%, then lift up 1.2 centimeters higher. This is the auxiliary learning function of the chip. Can compare his actions with the best actions in simulated cultivation, and then issue prompts to help the subject correct their actions. This also quickly put Luke into his best cultivation state. As time passed, his whole body seemed to be on fire, and his skin turned red, like a cooked crab. The steam swirled overhead, very frightening. The entire process lasted for 46 minutes before Luke finally withdrew from his cultivation state. He relaxed his body and exhaled a long, turbid breath from his mouth. The whole body's muscles and bones were ringing together, emitting bursts of crisp sounds. Luke moved his body a little and found that his body seemed lighter and more agile. Chip, scan and display my body data. Name: Luke, spiritual power. 0.7/2.2, mana. 0.6/2.2, physical fitness. 2.5/2.5, compare the changes in body data before and after practicing Luke's strengthening technique. As he gave the order, the data in front of him flashed rapidly and quickly froze in another picture. Comparison completed. By practicing the Luke radiation enhancement method, the changes in the subject's body data are as follows. Spiritual power consumption of 0.5, mana consumption of 1.5, and physical fitness increase of 0.6, the effect is good. The upper limit of spiritual power has increased to 2.2, which should be the result of sustained and slow improvement after breaking through. The maximum mana limit has also increased to 2.2. According to the introduction in meditation, after breaking through the beginner wizard apprentice, the maximum mana limit will continue to increase until it is equivalent to spiritual power. The upper limit of spiritual power determines the upper limit of mana. The physical fitness has suddenly improved by 0.6, which is even greater than the improvement in chip simulation. It seems that as I continue to practice the radiation enhancement method, the speed of my strength improvement will be even faster. Luke silently analyzed the changes in his own strength. With so much improvement in physical fitness, corresponding combat training cannot be lacking. As a junior wizard apprentice, both spiritual and magical power are extremely limited. Unable to parse spell models and cast corresponding spells. In addition, demonized items with engraved witch formations and the ability to cast spells are expensive and very scarce. Ordinary apprentices simply cannot afford it. So, for junior apprentices, there is basically only one way for them to fight, that's hand-to-hand combat. However, compared to ordinary knights, junior wizard apprentices are able to use their powerful spiritual power to simply attach their own magic to their bodies and weapons. It's like an enchantment from a previous game. In this way, the destructive power of the corresponding weapons will also be greatly enhanced. So even if their physical fitness is the same, the combat power of wizard apprentices far exceeds that of knights. I remember in my predecessor's memory, there was a swordsmanship called storm swordsmanship that could only be practiced by preparatory knights. Just practice this swordsmanship first and comprehensively enhance your own strength. Currently, the consumption of mana and spiritual power is too high to support the next radiation enhancement. Luke thought to first cultivate his family's swordsmanship and familiarize himself with his newly greatly improved body. I want to enhance my own strength. The improvement of physical fitness is one aspect. Mastering corresponding combat skills is another aspect. Both are indispensable. Chip, collect and organize information about Storm Sword in memory. Data collection successful. Is there any optimization for Storm Swordsmanship? Yes. No. Looking at the information in front of him, Luke nodded to himself and said, sure enough, chips can not only optimize radiation enhancement, but also optimize Storm Sword. Optimize now. Optimization started, current progress is 1%. Storm Sword optimization ended, expected power increase by 80%, great. Luke nodded satisfied, transfer the optimized Storm Swordsmanship to my memory area. As the order was issued, a large amount of knowledge about the cultivation of Storm Sword, as well as the image data derived from his body model, were all engraved in Luke's mind. I have gained relevant knowledge and experience in practicing simulation and deduction. As long as you follow the procedure and familiarize yourself with the giant sword for a few days, you can perfectly master this storm swordsmanship. Luke smiled and was very satisfied with it. With the assistance of chips, his learning speed is extremely fast. On the path of pursuing truth as a wizard, this is another astonishing advantage. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Auxiliary Combat Mode. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 Auxiliary Combat Mode more than a month later. Floating boat, practicing indoors. Bang. A giant sword, with a howling wind, struck heavily at the training doll. The white doll wearing leather armor only swayed slightly, leaving a faint mark on the leather armor. At the same time, on the screen on the right side of the practice room, the numbers kept jumping. Display relevant data for this attack. Attack category. Physical attack, power. 1 degree, doll damage level. Weak. Looking at the display in front of him on the screen, Luke nodded to himself and said, for over a month, I have been practicing radiation enhancement and constantly strengthening my physical fitness. My physical fitness has finally surpassed 3, reaching the standard of an ordinary knight. With the assistance of chips, the optimized storm sword technique has become increasingly proficient. At present, Luke is located in the training and testing area inside the floating ship. This place is not only spacious and bright, without any obstacles, but also suitable for practicing storm sword. There are also many humanoid targets. For example, the white doll in leather armor that he just attacked. As long as there is a related attack that falls on the doll, the specific attributes and corresponding power of the attack will be displayed on the adjacent screen. Degree is a standard used by wizards to measure the power of corresponding spells. Ordinary knights usually have a physical attack strength of around 1 degree. Chip, collect relevant data, and incorporate the specific concept of degree into the database. Luke secretly instructed in his mind. Relevant data has been collected and is currently being organized and analyzed. Pop pop pop. A round of applause echoed from behind, and congratulations from my friend Casa also came through. Luke, it seems that not only have you successfully broken through and promoted to a junior wizard apprentice, but you have also completely radiated and strengthened yourself, becoming an official knight. It's just a stroke of luck. Luke turned around and looked at his friend Casa behind him. Casa. Spirit. 3.9, Mana. 3.9, Constitution. 3.2, Evaluation. Junior Wizard Apprentice, Official Knight, detected weak energy field fluctuations on the target. Compared to database information, the probability of being a demonized item is 82.3%, warning. Warning. This goal carries a certain level of danger, and it is recommended that the subject maintain an appropriate distance and remain mentally alert at all times. The chip faithfully fed back the relevant data obtained from detecting Casa to his mind. Since Luke broke through to becoming a junior wizard apprentice and upgrading his chips, not only has its computing power greatly increased, but its detection ability has also been significantly improved. The most intuitive manifestation is that the original chip could not detect the body data of my friend Casa. But now you can easily scan the other person. The initial detection results showed unknown radiation source discovered, interference from unknown force field. This scan failed, later, through experiments and chip analysis. Luke discovered the so-called unknown radiation source and unknown force field interference. All originate from the magic on Casa's body. That's right, using chip analysis, luckily can be 100% certain that Casa just boarded the floating ship. I am already a junior wizard apprentice. After the chip upgrade, it is now possible to avoid interference from magic and detect the body data of wizard apprentices. However, it is not yet known whether it is possible to detect the wizard strength. While Luke pondered to himself, on the surface, he also had a passionate conversation with Casa. This is not a stroke of luck. After boarding the floating ship, it only took 31 days to break through to becoming a junior apprentice, which proves that Luke's qualifications are also considered the top among the 7th class, just a little short of being an 8th class qualification. After pausing for a moment, Casa continued to praise loudly. As far as I know, many new students with 8th class wizard qualifications on the ship are not progressing as fast as you. That's not as good as Casania, Luke said in a pun. It has to be said. Casa hides his own strength extremely well. After boarding the floating ship for nearly a month, it was only then that he revealed the fact that he had successfully broken through and become a junior wizard apprentice. If it weren't for owning a chip, Luke would find it difficult to discover that Casa is still a dishonest fellow practitioner. Like myself, they both concealed the fact that they had already broken through. Ha ha ha. The two of them praised each other and finally exchanged a glance, both laughing heartily. How about we have a competition? As Casa spoke, he picked up his giant sword with both hands and walked to the central open space of the training room. He and Luke are both practicing swordsmanship. And they are all the kind, with a length of 1.5 meters and a width of 30.40 centimeters, giant broadswords. Come on. Luke walked across from Casa and stood with his sword. Although they are only 13 years old, they have been practicing the night breathing technique since childhood and their bodies are very strong. In addition, with the recent breakthrough in becoming a junior wizard apprentice, utilizing radiation to strengthen physical fitness has improved by leaps and bounds. Both of them were covered in sturdy and symmetrical muscles, with a height of over 1.8 meters. It looks mighty and strong. Chip, establish a task, analyze the opponent Casa's strength based on the data collected during this period, and simulate the best defeat plan. Task has been established, starting to analyze simulation. Simulation completed. Do you want to activate auxiliary combat mode? Open. With Luke's command, the whole world seemed to quiet down in an instant before his eyes. Everything, including objects such as Casa and practice room dolls, was constantly being interpreted into various information in Luke's eyes. The light blue data stream interweaves together to form various types of information. Based on previously collected information on the target character Casa's attack habits, as well as the opponent's current demeanor, movements, muscle reactions, etc. The probability of Casa stepping forward and slashing horizontally is 99.64%. The best response plan is to block with a vertical sword, then take a step to the left, turn sideways, and chop down. The chip prompt has just ended, and Casa in front of me is indeed stepping forward. The giant sword swept horizontally towards Luke. And the action of the other party is exactly the same as the image simulated by the chip. Luke smiled and calmly erected his sword to block it. At the same time, according to the prompts, step sideways to the left, use your right foot to exert force, and raise your sword with both hands to fiercely strike. Dang! Casa was startled by Luke's jump and cut, quickly changing his moves and raising his sword to block it. But due to a hasty response and insufficient strength, he was shaken back several steps by a sword. Detected a slight tremble in the enemy's arm, in a slightly paralyzed state. It is recommended that the main body attack first, step forward and chop. Without hesitation, Luke immediately followed the chip prompts and launched an attack forward. Bang! Casa did not adjust his state well, and when he swung his sword again to block, his speed noticeably slowed down. In auxiliary combat mode, Luke seized every opportunity and completely suppressed the opponent. However, Casa's strength cannot be underestimated. Under Luke's fierce attack, he gradually adapted a lot and defended himself tightly. Even occasionally, they can take the time to launch a counterattack. Of course, the opponent's counterattack was always expected by the chip and easily stopped by Luke. The two gradually became entangled in a fight. The more the battle, the more shocked Casa became. He found that every move he made seemed to be detected by Luke in advance, and he completely blocked all his retreat and counterattack. Leave no room for improvement. If he continues to fight like this, he feels that he will be firmly suppressed to death by the other party. And even if he dies, he may not be able to cause any substantial harm to Luke. No, we must find a way to break the game. Casa gritted his teeth tightly and, taking advantage of the brief moment of being repelled, his spiritual power surged wildly. A layer of hazy light quickly covered the giant sword in his hand. Immediately, he turned his head towards Luke and struck fiercely. Warning! Warning! The enemy uses spiritual power to attach mana to their weapons, greatly increasing their killing power. It is expected that the power of this sword will exceed 2 degrees, best response plan. Attach mana to your own weapon, take this move with force, and then change to a direct stab. Oh! I can't help but start using mana. Faced with unexpected situations, Luke was very decisive and followed the prompts to attach mana to the giant sword with his spiritual power. Then lift the sword grid to block it. Bang! After a simple block, he dodged slightly, stepped to the right, and his sword turned, piercing directly into Casa's chest. The giant sword stopped about 10 centimeters away from Casa's chest. Sorry, you lost. Yes, I lost. Casa's eyes were slightly confused. However, dear Luke, my friend, I would like to take the liberty of asking, why do you seem to be able to detect the direction of my attack in advance every time? Casa asked in confusion. Luke stood up with his sword down and casually said, this is very simple. Actually, everyone forms their own combat habits during training in combat. I just need to remember your combat habits, and I can easily determine your next attack direction and make a response in advance. Are you accustomed to combat? Casa had a thoughtful expression on her face. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Dueling Invitations. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The source has no content or has errors. Chapter 10. Victory in Gambling and Fighting. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Chapter 10 Victory in Gambling and Fighting. This. Luke's face once again showed a hesitant expression, but his heart was secretly angry. He has been trying his best to avoid this meaningless duel. As a traveler, in this wizarding world with extraordinary powers, low-key caution is the most important. He doesn't want to be too conspicuous and attract the wizard's excessive attention. But since Engri keeps pressuring and the crowd of onlookers in front of him is increasing, even if he doesn't fight, he will still be notorious at this point. It's better to turn against the enemy. Since you must duel with me, Engri, according to the rules among nobles, the challenger has the right to arrange the location and form of the duel. If you must initiate a duel, then take out 5 magic stones as a bet. If I win, the 5 magic stones belong to me. If I lose, I'll give you 5 magic stones too. How about it? Do you dare? On the surface, Luke pretended to be a bit timid and made his own demands. 5 magic stones. Upon hearing this request, it was Angel's turn to hesitate. 5 magic stones are not a small amount. Even though he was tested for the highest, 9th class wizard qualification, the family spent a lot of money to obtain 12 magic stones. Just as Engri hesitated for a moment, he suddenly noticed that Luke's eyes were flickering across from him. He stared intently. I saw the other party clenching their fists tightly, seeming very nervous. Did he intentionally request 5 magic stones so that I could voluntarily give up the duel invitation? Engri became more determined as he thought about it. Okay, I promise you. Thinking of this, Engri decisively agreed, with a look of fear that Luke would retract. Okay, let's go to the practice room for a duel. The place there is spacious. Seeing the other party publicly promising a bet of 5 magic stones, Luke stopped pretending and smiled at the corners of his mouth. Walk towards the practice room. Seeing Luke's face suddenly burst into a smile, Engri's heart trembled with an inexplicable flurry. However, the duel was proposed by him, and the betting request was also personally agreed upon by him. There are still so many people around to watch. No matter what, we cannot go back on our word. Engri hesitated for a moment and took steps to closely follow. Behind them, a group of novice wizards who didn't mind the excitement, also gathered together and walked towards the practice room. At the same time, under the deliberate promotion of kind-hearted people in the Mutual Aid Association. The news that President Engri is going to duel with someone quickly spread through the air. Training room. On the central open space. Luke stood quietly with his family's legendary Stormwind sword in his hand. Across from him, Engri held a crossed sword in each hand, with a somewhat solemn expression. Something's wrong. Something's wrong. Since Luke agreed to the duel, it feels like a different person. The originally timid expression on his face was completely swept away. Instead, there is a faint disdain and strong confidence. This made Engri restless and had a premonition that something big was not going well. Beside the two, Casa and Maggie stood on both sides, one on the left and one on the right, standing far away. They are witnesses to this duel. Maggie seemed to have noticed that the atmosphere at the scene was not quite right, and her eyebrows furrowed tightly. As for Luke's friend Casa, he had a look of schadenfreude and prepared to watch a good show. No one knows Luke's true strength better than him. Although in the previous competition, Casa did not use his trump card. The enchanted item Ice Crystal Talisman. But being able to completely suppress oneself in the competition. With his terrifying combat talent, Luke is sure to easily defeat Engri. Don't say I bullied you, take action first. The duel began, and Luke held his sword in his right hand and turned his left hand towards Engri, casually hooking his little finger. In his eyes, there was a hint of provocation. You. Feeling Luke's disdain all over his face, Engri erupted, and his long, fiery red hair stood erect on his head. With a sudden step on his right foot, he took advantage of the situation and charged forward, stabbing his swords towards Luke's throat. I'm still too young to hold my breath. Seeing the other person easily angered by himself, Luke sighed inwardly. Despite the overall physical fitness surpassing Ingray, coupled with the assistance of chips, his winning rate in this duel is definitely close to 100%. But Luke is naturally cautious and will not miss any chance to increase his chances of winning. Before the battle, anger the opponent first, causing them to lose some rationality and expose more flaws. Reuse chips, keenly capture loopholes, and kill with just one strike. This strategy is obviously more secure, why not use it? Chip, simulate the best defeat plan. Task establishment, start auxiliary combat mode. Is simulation analysis completed, detected intense emotional fluctuations, unstable breath and power output from the enemy, suggest using the main body as a giant sword to attach mana, directly unleash the strongest attack, and blow away the opponent's weapon in one go. Indeed, hatred and anger are the easiest ways to make people lose their rationality. At the end of the day, the other party is still just a 12-year-old melon child, not mentally mature enough. Feeling in his heart, Luke's movements were not slow at all, let alone showing any mercy. Spiritual power suddenly stimulates magic and attaches to the giant sword. For a moment, a hazy glow formed by magic appeared on the surface of the broad giant sword. Drink. Luke let out his breath and burst out, his whole body suddenly bursting with strength. The giant sword swept fiercely towards the long sword that Ingray had stabbed. Dang! With a loud bang, the two crossed swords in the opponent's hand couldn't be held. All were swept away by the giant sword. You! Before Ingray could finish speaking, the giant sword struck him again and struck him hard in the face. Bang! Under the lateral impact of the giant sword, blood and water splattered along with several broken teeth, and Ingray's entire body was also shot out. Immediately fell heavily to the ground. You are deceiving and using magic. On the ground, Ingray struggled to get up, her eyes bloodshot, and she let out a low growl. Is there a rule against using magic in duels? Luke paid no attention to the weak's unwilling roar, his tone full of mockery. He quickly stepped forward and kicked Dong in the stomach, saying, "You're stupid yourself. You don't need magic, but who can you blame?" With this kick, Ingray, who was about to get up, immediately arched her back like a shrimp. A painful mournful cry emanated from the mouth, unable to speak anymore. Stop it. On the side, Maggie couldn't bear to watch anymore and quickly shouted to stop. Luke, you've already won. There's no need to torture Angela anymore. Did I win? Luke looked innocent. But Ingray hasn't given up yet. According to the rules of noble duels, in order to prevent enemy attacks, I launched a defensive counterattack. Is there any problem? You. Maggie was momentarily frustrated, her towering chest heaving violently, and she couldn't speak for a long time. Ingray, do you admit defeat? Luke ignored Maggie and walked forward again, looking down at Ingray, who was curled up in a ball and sobbing incessantly. If you give up the bet on the 5 magic stones and hand it over quickly, he said. I will never give up. Ingray angrily rebuked in a low voice, Luke, you despicable guy, this is deceiving us. Let's duel again. However, before he could finish speaking, Luke's right foot fiercely stepped on his face. Woo-woo. As his right foot gradually exerted force, Ingray couldn't speak clearly and could only make a whimper. You all see it. Luke looked around at the crowd. He doesn't give up on his own, and I can only continue to fight. As soon as he finished speaking, a cold smile appeared on his face, and his left foot suddenly lifted, stomping hard on Ingray's right arm. Click. The crisp sound of fractures echoed through the silent practice room. Woo-woo-woo-woo. Under his feet, Ingray's struggle became increasingly intense, but his screams were tightly sealed in his throat, unable to be shouted out. In the practice room, the apprentices and freshmen who came to watch were all stunned. These 12 or 13-year-old aristocratic youths are usually treasures of the family and have been taken care of by their families. Where have you ever seen such a cruel person? In the crowd of onlookers, several members of the Mutual Aid Association who were originally planning to come forward to help were also frightened by Luke's brutal behavior and quickly retreated. "Engri, I'll give you one last chance. Don't waste my time anymore. Do you really admit defeat?" Luke glanced at the young people around him again and asked lightly. The members of the Mutual Aid Association who came to cheer all lowered their heads. No one dares to look directly at him. The timid boy was even more frightened and trembling. Woo-woo. Engri's sobs came from under his feet, and Luke suddenly realized, and said, "I almost forgot that you were still trampled on by me and speechless. I'm really sorry." Saying sorry, Luke's face was mocked and he slowly lifted his foot. I give up." Below, Angelson was afraid that Luke would block his mouth again and quickly shouted loudly. At this moment, Luke was like a demon from hell in his eyes. He can even feel a strong killing intent from the other person. Luke really wants to take advantage of this opportunity to solve this deadly enemy. It is obvious that the conflict between the two is irreconcilable, and their families already have a feud. This time, I humiliated the other party again. In the future, the two of them will definitely be in a situation of immortality. For the enemy, Luke sent a letter with the principle of eradicating the root cause. Moreover, Engri, as an enemy, is still a 9th-class wizard with outstanding abilities, and there is a high probability that he will become the enemy of a formal wizard. No, we can't act recklessly now. Just kill Engri in public. On this floating ship, everything must be under the control of the sorcerer. I'm not sure if Sorcerer Thor allows sorcerer apprentices to hate each other. If this angers the other party and deprives them of the opportunity to go to the Blue Sea and study at the Wizarding Academy, there is even a possibility of being killed as a warning by the angry sorcerer. Isn't it not worth the loss in this way? Luke has always been cautious, and he doesn't want to try anything he can't figure out. Just give up, just give up. Crouching down and looking at Engri, Luke casually patted the swollen cheek with his hand and smiled, "Since you gave up, then I'll accept the 5 magic stones." Under his gaze, Engri trembled and took out a golden silk bag, from which she took out 5 magic stones. Respectfully handed over to Luke. These 5 magic stones are all black cubes of about 1 centimeter. After a brief count of the magic stones and confirming their accuracy, Luke patted the opponent's cheek again and said, "Welcome to initiate a duel with me again. However, next time you need to prepare a bet of 10 magic stones in advance." Ha ha ha. After speaking, he pulled his friend Casa and walked towards the outside of the practice room. The onlookers around unconsciously made way for him. As for the members of the Mutual Aid Association, none of them dared to step forward and obstruct. End of this chapter.